Alright, so yeah, we're gonna go over the news and stuff going on in the Middle East, and we're gonna talk about the Board of Peace, because I think that's a very big sign of the things to come, and I think it's prophetic, and I think it's going to lead up to this, as a part of this 20-point Gaza peace plan in the Middle East and phase 2, and the Mabula, and leading up to the 10 Kings and the 7-year covenant, and what they're going to do with the Abraham Accords, getting all these countries to join in on the Abraham Accords. They get these leaders to participate in this stuff, and I don't know. I don't know how long I'm going to have to record more of this stuff now. Probably won't be able to record it. If it cuts out this time, I'm done. Well, come here, buddy. Oh. I don't know how much more I can take. And yeah, so we're going to go over that in the news, and then I guess we'll go over some of the stuff with DSP, and fuck, man, my head hurts. And I don't know, I'll see how long I'm going to record this, but we're going to go over the news. Let me find it. I was actually just reading over what was going on, and it's crazy, dude. It's getting kind of crazy with stuff. Arresting a U.S. citizen, bro. That trying to prove that he was legal. It's just nuts, bro. I feel like I've gotten crazier, guys, since I got out of the hospital. I'm telling you, I think I've gotten crazier, personally, to tell you the truth. I think that place made me probably even more crazier than when I was there. When I got out. that, yeah, that hardly cleared up any space. Yeah, I gotta go in and delete a bunch of shit. But I'm not doing it. If this cuts out, I'm done. I'll deal with it tomorrow. January 17th. I really didn't have a chance to cover January 16th because I was out of town. But that was when the Board of Peace was announced. And yeah, so we'll go over the 16th and the 17th one. Okay, so this came from Fox News today. It was an alert. It said that Trump said he decided not to strike Iran with the protests because they said it said Iran scrapped 800 hangings, and they didn't hang anyone. He said they canceled the hangings that had a big impact. He said, Mr. President, they didn't cancel the hangings, they postponed them, or worse yet, they said publicly they canceled the hangings of the protesters only to forever eradicate the human being otherwise. While deliberate deception cannot be ruled out, there are indications that this was a coordinated and calculated move by the Iranian regime, working together with Qatar, Oman, Saudi Arabia, and Turkey to come up with something to get Trump to back down. They set aside to announce the canceling of 800 hangings. The object appears to have just been enough to get President Trump a way down off the escalation ladder he had climbed by saying help is on the way. But the news says to operationalize the Board of Peace vision under the chairmanship of President Donald J. Trump, a founding executive board has been formed composed of leaders with experience across diplomacy, development, infrastructure, and economic strategy. The appointed members are Secretary Marco Rubio, Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner, Sir Tony Blair, Mark Rowan, Ajay Banga, and Robert Gabriel. And this was announced Friday the 16th. President Trump announces the 7 founding executive board members of Trump's Board of Peace to oversee Gaza. This founding executive board is a group of 7 leaders so far, but they say they're going to announce the rest of them in the coming weeks. Trump goes to the World Economic Forum next week, January 21st, I think, from what I've read. So he'll probably announce it when he gets back from the WEF in Davos, which I am going to be watching that, and it's a possibility I might stream it, because that's going to be something big. That's going to be something big to cover and to talk about the plan he has for the future of what's to come. And well, I'm sure we'll get more information on the Board of Peace, which I think that's going to be a very huge announcement, and it's going to lead to what's going to happen next in the Middle East, which I think is going to be huge and going to be a part of, end times, end times stuff that's coming. And Jared Kushner is a big part of leading that. And he says it's making the way for a new Middle East. So something's definitely brewing over there. Yeah, there's also Nikolai Meladev, He's also another dude that is on the board of peace, and Bubba News is saying that he thinks that Bubba News is saying the dude looks a lot like the guy from Left Behind, Nikolai Carpathia from the Left Behind books and movies, of course. I love those books, by the way, in movies. If you've never seen them, I highly recommend go watch them. They're very, very good at explaining the narrative. They're very good at explaining how things fall into place for what's coming. And I watched them. I have watched them a lot. I'm a big fan of them. I'm a big fan of what's his face? I'm a big fan of I've read his books, and I've listened to audiobooks, and I've watched the movies. But I'm a big fan of I used to know the author that wrote Left Behind, but I don't remember his name. He died in 2016, and then I think his wife died about 2 years later. But they were very big They were very big people that believed in the prophetic and the end times and what was coming, including the rapture and everything. So there's. He was about teaching people about a pre-trib rapture. I read his book about the end times and everything. I forgot what it was called, but it's really interesting. But I've listened to all. I think he wrote 7 books on Left Behind. I listened to all 7 books. I think it was last year, and I have seen the movies a ton of times. I've seen the original. I've seen the Nicolas Cage movies, and I've seen the Kirk Cameron movies. And he does have a point. That guy does look a little bit like Nikolai. Nikolai Maladov, as spelled Nikolai, says in some sources is not part of the founding executive board of 7 members. The White House statement from January 16, 2026 explicitly lists the founding executive board as a group of 7. 7 now, but it's going to be 10. 10 in all. President Trump chairs the overall Board of Peace, providing high-level oversight, but he is not counted among those 7 founding executive board members. The structure treats the executive board as an operational core under his chairmanship. I think Jared's going to head the Board of Peace. I really do. I think Trump's just going to introduce it, and Jared's going to head it. His son-in-law's going to head it, and or this Nikolai dude, yeah. They're both the 2 people that I think will be the big people that will, set in place, in my personal opinion, set in place the end times structure for the 7-year peace covenant and the covenant with many, and the rebuilding of the third temple in the Middle East and what's coming. So. Or, restructuring, rebuilding the Middle East into this metropolis, this city, this sanctuary that's going to be for the Antichrist. And there was a video last year of them showing a golden statue, the golden calf statue that is built for the image. So I believe this is huge. This is not only prophetic, but it's huge. It's big. It's a big part of what's coming in 2026, and this is just another piece of the puzzle of what's going on in the world that's leading up to what's coming. I do, and this is, in my opinion, just another piece. It's a big piece leading up to, what's going to happen. So I believe this is all prophetic, and I people think I'm crazy when I talk about this stuff, but I believe it. I believe it's real, and I believe it can happen. I don't know. Just my personal opinion, of course, but Bubba says, so it's basically 7+1 with Trump leading the way. Is this prophetic? I'm not sure yet how this unfolds, but things are moving into place indeed. Either way, this whole Board of Peace is going to take on a whole different form during and after next week's big Davos meetings. Trump is scheduled to give his speech to the world on Wednesday the 21st. I really don't know how long this recording is going to last. I only got to 30 minutes and then it stopped, 30 seconds and then it stopped, so I barely have any space, so I'm probably not going to be able to record long. I wouldn't expect it to record long, but I'll see. It says U.S. invites Turkey and Qatar to join the Gaza Board of Peace. Netanyahu said the Gaza Executive Board announcement was not coordinated with Israel and contradicts its policy. Benjamin Netanyahu has instructed Foreign Minister Gideon Saar to raise the matter directly with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio. I think I got to 30 seconds before it stopped. Let me see where I stopped at. Alright, so no, only 3 seconds. I don't know. Says having Turkey a state sponsor of the Muslim Brotherhood on the so-called peace board is not going to fly with Israel. The world's leading state sponsors of the Muslim Brotherhood, Turkey and Qatar, have zero legitimacy and no business anywhere near a so-called Gaza peace board. This will not work. Meanwhile, Israeli Minister Ben-Gvir welcomes Prime Minister Netanyahu's statement stating Gaza doesn't need committees for its reconstruction. He calls on Netanyahu to re-instruct the Israeli army to prepare to return to war in order to eliminate Hamas. So that means that there's going to be this war brewing up this year again with Iran. With Hamas and Iran and Israel sometime this year. Hopefully there's not war going on in the Middle East, but they did send a bunch of military assets over to the Middle East yesterday, so very well could be brewing up for something with Iran. With the protest, I don't really know, man. Bubba says this continues to be a chatter on Twitter today. U.S. officials, Iran strike still expected. Senior U.S. officials believe a strike on Iran will eventually take place. In a closed conversation, Trump Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff was asked how Washington could abandon the Iranian people. His response, the Iranians think they're smart, but we are much smarter. The rhetoric on Iran won't stop anytime soon. If anything, it will continue to ramp up in waves as the waves of U.S. military assets get moved into position. Yeah, I don't like Keir Starmer. I don't like Keir Starmer. I think he's evil, and I think he is a bad dude. And he's done a lot of bad things in the UK with making the digital ID mandatory in Britain, and they're talking about introducing door-to-door vaccines in 2027. And this dude is, I think this dude is also he's anti-Israel. So it's Israel being destroyed. He's a supporter of a lot of bad things. It says weirdness of the day. Emmanuel Macron. Okay, this is not Starmer. This is Macron. Never mind. Right. And let's see what these glasses on and said. He has to wear them for a while because of the hemorrhage in his eye. Bubba says, is this an updated version of the Black Eye Club, or is this the prometheus worm inserted into the eye to become part of the viral lizard demonic elite club? I would probably say that it's more than likely it's an initiation or a plan by the elites that they're setting it up. So I'm sure it's probably to be a part of that elite club, you know. That's no conspiracy. They actually have people that they use for certain scenarios, bro. And dude, like people think I'm nuts when I tell them the things I do. They think I'm nuts. They think I'm crazy when I explain to them that all this stuff will happen. Either all this stuff could happen by 2030 because that's exactly their plan. They have all these goals they want to do by 2030, and they want to roll it out by 2029, man. And it's Agenda 2030. It's part of the, it's part of the one world order, the new world order, that plan to turn everything into a global government that controls the world, bro. And this is their whole plan, man. And a lot of these people are just puppets they're using to accomplish their agenda. 2026 is going to take the very dark year of 2025 and amplify the darkness to extremes that we have never before experienced in our lifetimes. Yeah, I agree with them. I think 2026 is looking kind of crazy, kind of very dark to start out. People believe we're in a time of peace, but I don't see peace. I see chaos and craziness in the world. People are like, I don't want war, I want peace. I want to, and they're hoping they believe in Trump will keep peace in the world, but it doesn't look like there's no peace, man. There's no peace, and I don't think there will be any peace till. There won't be any peace till we see the return, man. It's like it said there would be no peace in the world, man. Unfortunately, eventually there would be a time that would come that would be like no other time in history, and it wouldn't be again. And that's unfortunately what will happen, So people have this complex where they look at Trump as being the person that's going to keep peace. He's going to make it to where there's peace in the world. They call him the peace president, but I just don't. I don't think it. They're looking at Trump as like being able to like keep peace in the world, and Trump will keep the peace, even though protest and craziness breaking out all across the world. You can't help but be like, is he really the peace president, or is he the dude that wants war and chaos? You have to look at some people even refer to Trump as an antichrist, and I'm not saying he is, but it's just there's certain things that make you wonder. I don't know, man. I just don't know. Obviously, he became president for a reason. I don't know why he became president. I look at it more like it's not Trump pulling the strings behind the scenes. It's Jared Kushner, his son-in-law. And it says that the end times don't revolve around America. They revolve around the Middle East and Israel. Everything that takes place revolves around Israel. And there's probably more things happening in Israel in the last 2 years, or in the Middle East in the last 2 years, than it is in America. You have ICE and you have all that, but there's just, people aren't looking at the bigger picture, and the bigger picture really is to watch the Middle East and what they're doing over there, because that leads to what's coming. It's not that I don't pay attention to what's going on in my own country when it comes to the idea of the riots and everything, and the protesting going on in Minnesota, but I don't know. I look at the bigger picture, and that's what's going to happen with the Middle East, and how they're going to turn everything into a global government that's going to be ruled by one person eventually. Either that or I'm just crazy. One of the two. I don't know. Bubba says sailing at an average speed of 20 knots. And if people don't know what knots is, that's a term in the Navy for how fast it takes a ship to get to a certain place. I think knots is a Navy term. The USS Lincoln aircraft carrier strike groups had arrived in CENTCOM Arabian Sea in 6 to 7 days. Max speed is 30 knots, but none of us are ready to go with firepower by next weekend. This time frame will follow on the heels of the very important 56th annual WEF meeting taking place in Davos, Switzerland, bringing together over 2,500 global elites and world leaders. If an attack on Iran is coming, expect to see more firepower moving into place. Currently, we're seeing the beginning of just that scenario. Israel prefers to see a large-scale strike in Iran at a later date rather than a quick and limited strike now. Khan News, all the signs are building up for an attack on Iran, and that will be unbelievable due to the coming destruction. Yeah, Jeremiah 49:37. I just thought about that. Bubba says there's a reason why new satellite imagery shows the Prince Sultan Air Base in Saudi Arabia was recently nearly completely evacuated. The images show January 15th, almost all aircraft have departed, only aerial refueling tankers remain. Non-essential assets cleared out. Basically, Saudi Arabia has become a floating fuel tank to serve long-range bombers for a very large attack on Iran in the coming future. Says Iran report says 6,500 dead in genocide under digital darkness. Witnesses have tell of the brutally inflicted on those taking part in anti-regime protests. Sunday Times reports had obtained a new confidential assessment from doctors. Inside Iran estimated at least 16,500 protesters killed and approximately 330,000 injured during the ongoing nationwide crackdown. What the report says, 16,500 protesters killed, 33,000 injured. Data compiled by medical professionals using satellite communications, including Starlink, to bypass Iran's internet blackout. Blackout imposed January 8, 2026, limiting independent verification. Document attack as per the report, live fire, including hand-level targeting, reports of hundreds of night injuries. Allegations of secret body removals to conceal deaths, forced confessions, and mass arrests under blackout conditions. The scale of firm would mark one of the deadliest protests crackdowns in modern history. Silence does not equal peace. All it means no witness. Yep, 1984 basically is happening in Iran. Freedom is peace. Freedom is slavery. Something. Gosh, I don't remember the saying, but 1984 is happening in Iran. It's basically a dictatorship over there now. They're turning it into a dictatorship where they're giving people like limited ability for anything. Iran's turned into a full-on dictatorship. It's 1984 over there in Iran, and it's not good because I have a feeling if they keep it up, we're going to go to war with Iran. If they don't stop all this shit in over there with the protests. One week of internet blackout in Iran. Iranians have security clearance or have gone government checks could eventually surf on a filtered version of the global internet, according to the report. State media and government spokespersons have already signaled that this is a permanent shift and have warned that unrestricted access will not return for 2026. Oh my god, my head hurts. The report describes how the protesters scared the Iranian regime and convinced that public internet access to the internet via social media places the current regime's hold on power in danger and exposes crimes to the world. Say the regime on our just a policy of absolute digital isolation. Yeah, that was pretty interesting. Trump said said that people who wanted to join the Board of Peace have to contribute $1 billion to it. And it says each member will serve a term of no more than 3 years from this charter's entry into force. There you go, bro. 3 years. And the person that heads this board will serve on it for 3.5 years. 3 years. 3 years. This is pretty interesting. I thought this right here. Can't really see it, but hold on, let me bring it up. I thought this right here was very interesting. Each member state shall serve a term of no more than 3 years from this charter's entry into force, subject to renewal by the chairman. This person, who is this leader, he will rule in the last 3.5 years. So that is very, very interesting. And it says a 3-year membership shall not apply to member states that contribute more than 1,000 in cash funds to the Board of Peace. So it appears that Trump is building an organization here that will deal with not with Gaza, perhaps a kind of mini UN Western diplomats. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Let's see what else we got here. Trump to confirm. No. The United States has requested an emergency meeting of the UN Security Council over the situation in Iran. President Trump has privately told his top advisors that he will want an action against Iran to deliver a swift and decisive blow to the regime. However, the U.S. official confirmed that Trump's advisors may not be able to guarantee him that the regime will quickly collapse after an American military strike. Yeah, that was another thing too. Trump wanted to invoke the Insurrection Act in Minnesota after a couple nights ago, after what was going on with ICE. Okay, so this is what they're saying about the Board of Peace. It says Trump's $1 billion Board of Peace. It says, so peace is now a subscription model. The 3-year membership term shall not apply to member states contributing more than $1 billion in cash funds to the Board of Peace from the first year of the charter's entry into force. The draft charter says, according to Bloomberg, 3-year seat for regular members, permanent-ish seat for $1 billion club, and the paywall comes with Trump's chokehold. He decides who's invited. Votes are subject to the chairman's approval. Agendas happen when it deems it's appropriate. Even the official still needs his sign-off. Gaza is burning in the peace board comes with an entry fee. Sanders voted as chairman's lane for permanent seats. Yeah, that's very interesting. All right. I don't really feel like reading the rest of this, so we're going to do something else. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? None of my stuff is working. Oh my god. You know, something just wants to ruin my goddamn life. It really does. It just wants to be like, hey, let me just make everything worse for you. And now I'm going to have to restart the computer, and I'm going to have to do it over, and I'm going to lose my recording. Fuck, man. Just fuck everything, dude. Great. Alright, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna finish up this stuff and then I know what I'm gonna do. Alright, that should fix that issue.
And I have to point out that under the previous couple administrations ago, thanks to them, we have a whole generation.
See what's going on with DSP. I haven't had a chance to check them out in a couple of days. DSP Rage quit Street Fighter 6. Zangief begs to hit goals, no clickbait. I don't think I'm going to have enough space to record this. My head.
Can make you do exactly what I want because I know how you think. You're not smart. You're stupid. You're very easy to manipulate. You're very gullible. Every person who's into this garbage drama, you need a life. I can't make you get a life. I've tried to convince you for years to get one. So now, if ever I feel like I need to, I'm going to use it for my own personal gain, and you're going to like it.
Uh-huh.
Urban style individual.
What's up with y'all? Hopefully this video finds you in good spirits, and if not, well, at least you not DSP. So apparently this entire time, Phil was playing 4D chess, and his thought process is so far beyond our own that it's going to take us a week or more just for things to resonate, just for it to make sense what the king snake was actually doing. Because how could we possibly fathom how far in advance his thought process is? This is so beyond ridiculous, man. This dude really is losing his mind. Let's get into it.
So I ran my hypothesis, I laid out the experiment, and ladies and gentlemen, the experiment was a smashing success.
Now the man just
Experiment?
said yesterday, not even 24 hours ago, that nobody...
Oh yeah, the DSP goes nuclear. I did watch that.
My
experiment.
question would be, what metrics
I did see
to
that.
determine that this was a quote-unquote success?
Well, what was the experiment? The experiment was that if I tried to actually get a reaction from the internet, that the internet would actually bite. And the answer is yes, absolutely, 100%. So much nonsense on the internet is surrounding me. As I keep telling you guys, I am the center of this vortex.
See, but he's explaining this as if the entirety of the internet reacted to this because they're waiting with bated breath for Darkseid Phil to do something. That's not true. What you did was activate the sphere that is already into this very small segment on the internet that actually cares about this stuff. Nobody outside of this stuff cares about it at all. So he's acting as if he created some type of influx or renewed interest in this stuff. That did not happen.
That all I want to do is sit here and play games and chill and have fun, but the internet just waits. They're sitting there outside of the vortex salivating. Ooh, when's Phil going to say or do something that we can jump on?
So I want you to pay attention to what he's saying throughout this, and you're going to see that he doesn't actually give you a real reason for why he did this. Now, he's going to act as if he was playing the role of the puppeteer. You know, he was manipulating everyone, but the truth is the only people that you manipulated, Phil, is your actual real fans. That's it.
And so I said, I will give them something. And you might say, that sounds very narcissistic. Well, it is. But the point is, what I say is true. You might say, well, gee, Phil's so full of himself, he thinks that if he does anything that everyone's going to react to it. Well, they do. Being honest with you, I don't think I'm interesting. I think I'm just a normal dude who just wants to play games and hang out with you guys. I don't know where all of this comes from.
To be frank, this is a thought process of a teenager where they're trying to invoke something or they're doing something stupid to get a reaction or get someone's attention. You see this a lot when, teenage love or puppy love starts to break down. They do dumb things like stunts to get the other person's attention. This is what this reminds me of.
I never did. I think it's insane that a crazy amount of people hyper-fixate and focus on me to get attention and content, okay? And so I said, you know what? I bet if I reacted to other content creators, if I reacted to detractor content, I bet I could get not just my community, but all these other communities would be involved. And it would...
Sure, but that's not anything crazy. You act like you discover something new or something. I guarantee you if Wings did the same thing you did, Boogie, LTG, guess what? All their detractor communities would be activated and there would be crossover appeal because they're talking about another Lao Cow. Like you didn't uncover some stone and discover something that nobody knew existed. This is commonplace.
It would be this big thing. All the fans are making content. Everyone's talking about what just happened yesterday. I can't believe DSP made this content. What do you think? Well, it's kind of hypocritical because he says he doesn't want to be about drama, and now he made a drama video. The stuff he said in the video is pretty true. Yeah, but he's an asshole about it. He's a dick, and blah, blah, blah. Exactly what I planned.
Sure, but who is everyone, though? The people who would be saying what you just said are your detractors. So again, I don't understand this whole you play 4D chess on us and our pleb brains just don't understand what's going on. All you did was stimulate our economy, bro. That's it.
Like literally every single thing that I thought would happen happened. We had LTG immediately exploding.
Everybody that makes videos about me are ugly. There's a difference. Look, he just got so angry and upset. The fact that he can't deny I'm a hot guy. That's why he's DMing me late at night. The hours that he's messaging me are the hours usually you should be getting top or being involved with a woman. Yet he thinks I'm a hot guy because he's messaging me at the wee hours of the night.
Press X to Dow on Twitter, going on his stream, doing a giant rant about me, dropping the DMs, which were fucking fake DMs that I purposely sent him so he would drop the DMs.
Nobody believes that. Not a single soul believes what you're saying, Phil. This is a complete and utter disaster. This is beyond embarrassing, man. It really is. And it's sad that he really believes that if he just tells this lie hard enough, that people will believe it. But the more you speak, the less we believe, man, because our brains are actually calibrated correctly. This shit will only work on a child. I cannot believe you fixed your mouth to come out here and say this madness and thought adults would actually believe it.
I mean, he literally is the most predictable motherfucker on the planet. He's such a simpleton with a simpleton's brain. You can know exactly how he'll react to any situation because he doesn't have, like, intelligent thought or self-awareness.
No, the truth is these two loud cows that you decided that you were going to cover this day have actually been ignoring you for a very long time. And you were upset about that because you would rather hear back from someone than be ignored. This is why if I'm Asmongold, I'm looking at stuff like this. If you reach out to anybody else to come on into the Level 1 podcast, if I'm them, I'm looking at that DM and saying, no, I'm not dealing with this guy. Because when you don't play ball the way he wants you to, this is how he acts. Now, we know for the longest time he's been talking on and on about going on Asmongold's so-called podcast. But what happens if Asmongold begins to ignore him? Is he going to flip on him next?
He just acts exactly like you want him to in every situation. And then on the Wings of Redemption side, exactly as I knew would happen, his little friend circle of players ran to him to tattle. Did you hear what DSP did today? He said these things about you on the stream. We told you he's a dick. We told you. You see what we mean? All of it came exactly into existence as I had planned.
You are such a child. You're 43 years old. At this point, you should have a child yourself. And I'm not saying everybody should have a kid, but in my experience, you have not lived the whole of the human experience until you have had a child, because there's certain parts of your genome that's not even activated until you have one. But Phil, at this point, you should be outside throwing a football with your kid, right? Teaching them how to drive, stuff like that, helping them with his college applications. But here you are playing troll on the internet at 50, almost 50 years old, and you're proud of it. Look at his face. Look at all the glee, the excitement he has in his face right now. Like, you really think this is a good thing.
100%. Not even a misstep. It all fired on every cylinder. All the Wings detractors made videos. The LTG detractors are making videos. X blew up. It all happened because I said so. It's pretty scary, don't you think? Pretty scary to know that I played everyone, and I just set this entire thing up for a reason.
But how did you play us, though? That's the point I need you to actually expound on. Also, I would like for you to actually give us the reason, aside from you attention seeking, because that's all you've laid out up until this point. So can you please give us a real reason why this happened?
So allow me to end it like this, all right? So thanks for watching that garbage content. I really hope you enjoyed it, but I'm not going to be making that kind of content regularly at all.
So now this is Phil attempting to save face, because things did not go the way he wanted it to go. So now he has to lick the wounds of his dents that were hurt during this process. Now, had it went his way, he would still be ignoring how they actually feel, because he's done this countless times. But since it didn't, he knows he has to crawl back. So this is what this next part is going to be about. It's sad.
I'm going to move forward and do positive stuff like I intend, and I hope that you understand that. And for my fans who were freaking out and saying, oh no, why is he doing this? I'm not doing it, don't worry. Like, that's never my intention, it never was. But I wanted to prove a point, I've proven that point. It's very simple. I am the puppet master, and everyone out there in the drama communities are my puppets. At any moment I can snap, and I can make you jump, I can make you flick, I can make you do a backflip, I can make you say what I want you to say,
So what he's saying is he played you because you reacted to something that he did. But Phil, we do that anyway. So I'm not understanding where the whole playing and mischievousness and the misdirection's coming from. This is cope, man, on the highest level. And this is something that you're telling yourself because what you put out was objectively bad across the board. Nobody liked it. So now you have to come to the scene as if, well, I knew y'all didn't like it, but I knew you weren't going to like it. That's why I did it like that, because I'm so much smarter than you. And you know what everybody's doing when they heard you say this shit? They all thought to themselves, oh my God, he's actually going there. He's really going to try to convince us that this is King Snake 2.0. You just drift further into the abyss, Phil. I'm just keeping it real.
To make you do exactly what I want, because I know how you think. You're not smart. You're stupid. You're very easy to manipulate. You're very gullible. Every person is into this garbage drama. You need a life. I can't make you get a life. I've tried to convince you for years to get one. So now, if ever I feel like I need to, I'm going to use it for my own personal gain, and you're going to like it.
So that's really what it was about. It was him trying to stimulate his dead channel. Now, we all knew this already, but look how long it took and all the filibustering he did to get to something that we already knew. Why can't you just be real about anything, Phil? And it's why people don't like you, because you're so unrelatable. Even when things are blatantly obvious, you decide to go in the complete opposite direction. And so you effectively give people nothing to work with. This is why people say you don't have a single redeemable quality, because something like this, you should just look it in the face and say, you know what, it didn't work, it is what it is. I was always told if you gotta eat shit, chew fast.
Super chat. So, Chim Char did a $5 super chat and says, your fans wanted Arc Raiders gameplay. Why was it more important to give detractors content yesterday than do Arc Raiders? Because you're lying. You didn't want Arc Raiders gameplay. If you did, you would have been there for Arc Raiders on Tuesday. When everyone complained I already did too much Arc Raiders in too short of a time, and to stretch it out more, it was getting bored.
He didn't say he wanted Arc Raiders. He said your audience wanted Arc Raiders. Okay? Now, you took the convenient approach of acting as if he's speaking for himself. But we know what he's trying to say. And it's obvious that even though you want to claim that this is an experiment and some type of hypothesis, we know those are things that actually take thought. You put things together, different variables, and then you employ the scientific method to see what works. We can tell what Phil did was something he did on a whim out of desperation. Not the same things.
You're a liar. You're not even a regular. No one believes you. So thanks for $5, but no, you're full of crap. In addition, I already had announced overnight there was no Arc Raiders, so no one should have been attending that stream expecting Arc Raiders when I had already canceled it way in advance.
So imagine you have something planned, right? And the day is coming that you're supposed to fulfill whatever that is. And the company sends you an email, or they call you at midnight the night prior to the engagement and tells you that it's no longer happening. Wouldn't you be upset? But for Phil, in his mind, he canceled it quote-unquote way in advance. This dude concept of time is so crazy, man. This is why, man, he's up all hours of the night, right? And these make for very rough mornings. This is why he's coming in groggy and upset, kind of bitter. He'd rather be sleeping more so he can sleep off his hangovers. So basically, there's no real thought that goes into what he's about to do on stream. It's about 20 minutes prior. He comes up with this. He thinks he's a genius, so naturally he feels like everybody's just gonna fall for it.
And then Chim Char did a $5 super chat. He says, what do you mean you're not doing it? You did it. You literally did it. Instead of Arc Raiders, you're not making sense right now. What are you talking about? No idea. Thanks for $5.
Everybody else knew what he was saying. He was saying, why are you acting like you're not doing drama content when you actually did, and everybody else wanted to see you play Arc Raiders? And you do this a lot. You try to make it seem like something that's poorly written or maybe not written optimally is somehow unreadable, and that somehow makes you intelligent because you can't determine what's being said. And it's like, no, the opposite is true. It makes you intelligent if you can decipher what's being said, even though it's not clearly written. My goodness.
I'm just not going to read his messages anymore. Yes, actually, yes. So Frank Reynolds did a $5 super chat and says, so your point is when you act like an unhinged, narcissistic, obsessed lunatic, people will call you an unhinged, narcissistic, obsessed lunatic? My point is that whenever I do anything, everyone jumps. If I snap my fingers, people report it. All right? And so I have an impact, a ripple effect across the internet for absolutely no reason.
No, Phil. You have no real impact. You have no real ripple effect. You're that car accident that people look at in passing on their way to work in the morning. That's what you are. In fact, most people outside of this sphere, they probably didn't even get wind of it. And if they did, they've already moved on. I mean, those are just the facts. So all you did was feed your trolls at the expense of your audience, because those are the only people that got manipulated because they thought DSP Gaming, the professional gamer, was going to play video games. But he decided to take out his pound of flesh because he was being ignored by two other grown men. My goodness.
And I can even eclipse and include other people in it, whether it's Wings, whether it's LTG, or many others.
Who are these other people? The only people you mentioned were two loud cows. So who are these other people that you are impacting? You see how he can't give you any real substance to what he's saying, even though this is the narrative?
It's just crazy how you act. Not me, because I'm just here to chill and have a good time with games. What's crazy is your behavior. The fact that you react like this to everything that I do. If I pick my nose, it's a video. If I, scratch my ear, did you see he scratched his ear and he wiped it on his shirt? That's a video. That's insanity. That's not normal behavior. You're a weirdo.
So you walk outside, right? And somebody is doing something crazy. Say somebody's pouring gasoline on somebody's car and they're trying to strike a match so they can get the fire going. And then you pull out your phone and say, man, this is crazy. Let me record this. Phil, in his mind, you're the crazy person for recording it, not the guy who's trying to set the car on fire. This is DSP logic to the max, man. Crazy.
That's the point I'm making, is that just because I make content or I say something in a video doesn't mean that it's so important, but you are so desperate for drama and content and views that you have to report it, like an idiot. No one cares, except you and your weirdo-obsessed community. That's the point I'm making.
You see how that made absolutely no sense? His point is, if he does something stupid, you will report it. Well, no shit. Hasn't that been the case for a better part of 10 years? So, again, people usually do experiments so they can find new breakthroughs in tech or whatever, right? So what was the new breakthrough here, Phil? What was discovered that we prior to this did not know? Because I'm trying to figure out what was the point of this experiment, man. I'm still waiting.
And I can now manipulate it however I want, whenever I want, because I'm smarter than you. That's the point I was making yesterday.
However you want, whenever you want. What do you mean by however you want, right? That's implying you're somehow in the driver's seat and you can influence what people do and how they do it. It's not true. Like I said, what did detractors do differently yesterday that they didn't do any other day? That's the part I don't understand. Now, I'm sure you activated other communities because you were talking about, their punching bag. So naturally, they're going to react to what you're saying. But outside of that, what really happened? Nothing. You just disappointed your Dents. And you failed to entertain the trolls in the ways that you would like to. Think about that, Dents. Phil did this because he was trying to give the trolls something. Think about that. He cares about us far more than he cares about you.
Thanks for $5. And thanks to these people who like to throw me money to say dumb stuff. I don't know what else to say. I appreciate the money. It's not very smart of you, but hey, I can't make you smart. Although he wants me to admit I fucked up. No, it was all calculated. It's not a mistake when you get exactly the response that you were expecting. Ridiculous. Well, Stormforce Gamer, here's the thing. He says, is it worth it if you upset your longtime real fans? But that's the point I'm making. I'm not doing that because I'm not making that content. It was an experiment. It worked. Now I know exactly what I can do in the future if I need to, but I don't want to have to use it. It's kind of like that big red button you have on your desk. Oh, here it goes. Don't make me hit it. Don't make me do it. You see what happens when I do it? All I want to do is play games and have fun. Leave me alone, or I'll hit that fucking button over here. You see? Nope.
This is why I said that he's desperate. Because any other time people are talking about somebody's hand on the nuclear codes or on a button to press a bomb or something, is usually describing a situation that's desperate. People are in desperation, and this is the only other option that they have, right? This is what he just outlined. But From the beginning, he was talking about how this was his grand scheme, this was his plan. You just don't understand because, again, Phil is playing 4D chess, and we just haven't caught up yet. But he has failed to outline what he got out of this. Only people that benefited from this were the trolls, man. This guy is deluded.
No one, in truth, no one's upset because here's when you would be upset. If I said, I'm doing that all the time now. This is exactly the content I want to put out because look, I got double views, I made money, everyone talks about me. That would truly be narcissism.
So now he's telling his longtime fans, no, you shouldn't be upset. You don't have to come to DSP Gaming and worry about your feelings. I'll tell you when you can be mad. I'll tell you when you should be happy, and I'll tell you when you should like something. How you gonna tell them how they should feel about something when you preach for the longest time? This is part of your branding, that you're a chill, fun, interactive streamer, and then you push games to the side to do some dumb shit like this. You didn't think they were gonna be upset about this? He knew that they would. The point is, he didn't care.
That's what actual narcissism is seeking out that level of attention just for the sake that you love attention for yourself. I don't.
That's exactly what you described, though, Phil. This is why I said, man, you would do good with having a handler, even if it's somebody that you deal with electronically through email or something, and you send to them your topics of the day or the things that you think you should say, and allow them to filter through a lot of that shit, because the overwhelming majority of the things that you said pertaining to the situation make no sense. Not from a troll perspective, not even from a Dent perspective. They only make sense to you.
I actually just want to be left alone and play games with my chill audience, and that's what I intend to do. But the only way you know what's really going to happen is unless you test it. So there you have it. You saw it. It's all there in black and white. It's been proven, and now we move on. So you don't have to worry. If you're a fan of mine and you like gaming and you're here to chill, you're in the right place. Like I said, it really was just a one-off thing, and now I know that if I need to, I can use it, but I'm probably not hoping to never have to.
See what he said there? I know now that if I need to, I can use it. Again, this was a desperate attempt at garnering interest in his dead channel. This is in the same vein as him bringing Street Fighter back, right? This is in the same vein as him constantly mentioning the Asmongold podcast. This is in the same vein as him adding the DSP morning show and uploading it to add more uploads to the video rotation. Phil is trying to squeeze and pool all his resources because things are not going well. He's uncertain. So now he's willing to do anything. And this is the importance, Phil, and so I preach to you all the time, of you trying to do other things so you can supplement your income. Because when situations come like this, I don't care what you say, we can feel the desperation coming off of you, man. And you doing this is more signs and shades of that. You are absolutely desperate. You don't know what's going to happen next because you have no real control over your life. You should have been got a part-time job or something, or got into the trades, or got a certificate in doing anything. But you decided that those things were beneath you, that you were too good for those things. And somehow you're better than everybody else, but you're the one on the internet begging strangers for money every single day. And now you have to come on here and try to appeal to them because you misstepped, because you failed to plan. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.
on it. She knew, or maybe she was just weird and she just had really strange behavior. She didn't know, and she's just the type that really cares about social media and getting that viral video more than anything else. I don't know, but it is a little bit strange. So just some of the things that people have pointed out that are a bit odd in the assassination attempt. But I have to say that now that I looked back at it, now that it's been a year and a half, and I can look back at it, it does look more suspicious. And the fact that they never really investigated Thomas Matthew Crooks, or who might have groomed him, who might have recruited him, or anything else, and it's just all been swept under the rug, it does look suspicious. It does. So, yes, I am now ready, I'd say, to entertain the idea that this was staged in order to get Donald Trump elected. And generally what we're seeing is, people, and also at that time, I'll remind you, at that time, people thought, no way would anybody try to get Donald Trump elected. He's the enemy of the establishment. But now it's been a year and a half, and he's been president for a year. Is he the enemy of the establishment, or is he doing their bidding at every single turn? Because at this point, he's clearly doing their bidding. Anything and everything they want, Trump has done. Hanging out with Lindsey Graham, crapping on Thomas Massey, not releasing the Epstein files, calling them a hoax, doing everything, marching us into war for Israel, marching us into war and trying to conquer lands far away, regime change, doing all of these things that he swore he was not going to do. And that is why so many people said, no way this assassination attempt is real or is staged. Nobody would want Trump to be president because he's going to disrupt everything. And the fact is, we're a year in and he hasn't done any of that. And so it's looking more and more likely that, yes, perhaps the assassination attempt was actually staged. And looking at it now with all of this now taken into consideration, I'm willing to now entertain that, yeah, I think it very well might have been staged, and I think it might have been staged by the very people who wanted Donald Trump in office, probably, we could say Israelis and other military-industrial complex players, big money interests, who absolutely are getting everything they've ever dreamt up right now in his administration is what they're getting. So, yeah, maybe the thing was staged. I'm willing to say that now. Thank you for watching this clip from the full Kim Iverson Show, which you can watch Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific at KimIversonShow.com. See you there.
Hello, brothers and sisters. This is Cheyenne, loving warrior for Christ, and I'd like to go over the characteristics of a true Christian, and then I'd like to go over some videos on Donald Trump. A true Christian, they will have the fruits of the Spirit. The Bible tells us what the fruits of the Spirits are, and I will read Galatians 5:22 through 23. But the fruits of the Spirits is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law. So you see, these are the characteristics that a true Christian should be showing at all times. The Bible warns us that there will be people who are pretending to be Christian. They will be wolves in sheep's clothing. They will not produce the fruits of the Spirit. I will read Matthew 7:15 through 20.
Now, to all those people shaking their heads and thinking that Trump is somehow the savior, I want to show you how many copyright strikes I've got on this video. This is my 4th time uploading it. This is for one video. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I re-uploaded it after replacing the music and got another one. That's 5 copyrights, and I'm about to re-upload it again. So apparently YouTube does not want this up for a reason. Okay? So rip this, flip this, and share this. No matter what your political beliefs are, this is a real thing. I don't make up the news. I simply read it and report it to you. Richie from Boston. Please like, share, subscribe, or don't. Okay, this is the 5th time making this video over and over again. The volume's no good. Copyright strikes, blah, blah, blah. This, that, and the other thing. It's weird. When you put something out that touches on Israel or anything like that, you have nothing but issues, and I don't expect this one to go very well. But I'm doing it again. I'm over here at Breaking Israel News, and it says the Sanhedrin blesses Trump. Calls on President to uphold 7 Noahide laws. They claim from the Torah that these are the laws derived from Noah, from the Great Flood. These are actually 7 man-made laws, but I digress. Let's read on. Thus saith Hashem to his anointed, to Cyrus, whose right hand I have holden, to subdue nations before him and to loose the loins of kings, to open the doors before him and that the gates may not be shut. What does that sound like? Sounds like opening something that nobody wants open, right? At any rate, let's move on. Here's a picture of Trump holding a Bible given to him by his mother, but we've also seen him refuse to say that he's ever asked forgiveness for any of his sins or transgressions. We also know that he wants to bring Catholicism to the forefront again, and he's a friend of Israel, big time. In an ancient and honored Jewish custom, the Sanhedrin sent a letter to the new leader of the United States, President Donald Trump, blessing him and calling on him to take the lead in restoring America and the world. The Sanhedrin also called on the new president to acknowledge and uphold the 7 Noahide laws. The letter follows the custom of Jewish people to bless foreign kings, as seen in the verse in Jeremiah. Rabbi Dov Steen, secretary of the Sanhedrin, told Breaking Israel News, and seek the peace of the city whither I have caused you to be carried away captive, and praise unto Hashem for it. For in the peace thereof shall ye have peace. Jeremiah 29:7. Okay, so let's take a look at the 7 Noahide laws. 1, do not deny God. Okay. 2, do not blaspheme God. I'm down. 3, do not mock, do not murder. Okay. 4, do not engage in illicit sexual relations. Okay. 5, do not steal. All right. 6, do not eat from a live animal. I don't exactly understand that. 7, create legal system of justice. So why is it that, starting with George Herbert Walker Bush, New World Order, do these people want to put their rule of law on us so bad? Well, let me show you. joke at all, and it really disturbs me. Several hardcore channels that have been around for a long time have seen this and have seen through this, okay? That's all there is to it. Trump is being used to divide America another way. Barry and Michael Obama already did their level best to bring racial division back to America, and now Trump's going to bring it in from another direction. And people just aren't seeing this coming. I don't understand how people suddenly think that one guy stopped the entire Bilderberg, Bohemian Grove, the New World Order, Israel, all of them, all in their tracks. They suddenly stopped them all. One guy. Do you see what I'm saying? We're being played once again. The New World Order is going to continue marching forward. And these right here are not the laws of God. These are the laws of man. And this is serious. This is no joke. It blows me away that people have forgotten what this guy is. It's just as bad as a crisis actor. He's an actor. He is an actor. And he's a billionaire. Do you know what that makes him? It makes him one of the elite. He didn't make his money by worrying about what happened to people like me and you. Not at all. And he either got an ultimatum or he's been in it the whole entire time. I mean, how do you go broke in this country and then become a billionaire all over again? You see what I'm saying?
You're fired. You're fired. You're fired.
There's a reason that we're seeing all this evil reveal itself, whether it's the pedophilia, whether it's the Satanism, whether it's the bestiality, but it's coming at us from all angles right now. Back in September, when I went to the Church of Satan, I spoke with the woman and asked about the Baphomet. If you watch the video, which I'll leave a link in the description, you would have heard what she said. I said, why is this in the back of the building? I said, isn't this supposed to be traveling the country? She said, we only put this out when we find a city or township that still has the 10 Commandments in it. And then we set this up until they decide to take the 10 Commandments down, because it's eye for an eye, apple for an apple type deal. You know what I'm saying? And that's exactly what this whole entire thing is. The 7 Noahide laws fly directly in the face of the 10 Commandments and directly in the face of God. This is just more of the same all over again. At any rate, I'll leave links in the description. Richie from Boston. Like, share, and subscribe, and spread this video around. This was no joke getting up, if it even is still up. I'm out.
Hello, brothers and sisters. This is Cheyenne, loving warrior for Christ, and I'd like to go over the characteristics of a true Christian, and then I'd like to go over some videos on Donald Trump. A true Christian, they will have the fruits of the Spirit. Hello, brothers and sisters. This is Cheyenne, loving warrior for Christ, and I'd like to go over the characteristics of a true Christian, and then I'd like to
And that is why I am proud to make a major and historic announcement this morning and to share with you that my first foreign trip as President of the United States will be to Saudi Arabia, then Israel, and then to a place that my Cardinals love very much, Rome. These visits will take place ahead of the NATO G7 meetings and will begin with a truly historic gathering in Saudi Arabia with leaders from all across the Muslim world. Saudi Arabia is the custodian of the 2 holiest sites in Islam, and it is there that we will begin to construct a new foundation of cooperation and support with our Muslim allies.
Hey everyone, this is Mike with On Point Preparedness. For those that missed it, I created this video on January 20th, 2017, detailing how Donald Trump was not a true Christian, and in the role of President of the United States of America, he is presiding over the beast of the earth symbolized in the book of Revelation. The beast of the earth, just as the first beast before it, are in submission to a harlot church riding this beast system. As I've shown you in a multitude of videos, the harlot is clearly the Vatican. When I published this video, I received numerous commenters stating that Pope Francis and Donald Trump would So, you thought you were safe. Big bad Hillary Clinton is out of the picture. Donald Trump survived his inauguration. No one's coming after your guns. Trump's going to cool down the heat between US and Russia. He's gonna build that wall, keep us safe. And most important of all, he's a Christian man. And through him, we're going to restore this country to its Christian roots. Or so you thought. What my eyes and my spirit sees is something completely different. Something that I've warned you all about over the past year. That Donald Trump, a pro-Christian American resurgence, and an upcoming amends to the papacy or Vatican are all fulfillment of end times Bible prophecy. Back in March 2016, I told you all that I believed a renaissance of sorts was about to happen within Christianity across America, and that unfortunately, this movement would be hijacked by the evil one and turned into a falsehood. Sure enough, we've seen this happen with church movement after church movement falling into false messages and occult symbolism. Whether it's the Reset 2016 movement with its integration with Pope Francis and occult Ouroboros symbolism, or the World Explosion Tour, which so blatantly displayed the as above, so below inversion, or even the 2016 Gathering, which used the all-seeing eye pyramid of Osiris in their logo, with the event being held on September 21st, the UN's International Day of Peace and Safety. The devil has integrated himself into this Christian resurgence. I also told you about how only a small remnant of God's church would be true to his word and spirit, and provide major historical evidence of how that had happened in the past. If you've not seen that video, I strongly recommend that you watch it, because we are steamrolling towards this prediction coming true, and Donald Trump is the catalyst. Before I show you some of the shocking ways Donald Trump's presidency is prophetic, perhaps I need to bring some folks down from their high and show them what kind of, quote, Christian Donald claims to be. He has photo op after photo op using the Bible as a token stage prop, yet never showing us the fruit of the Spirit. And that's no surprise when your whole upbringing has been led by a 33-degree Freemason, Norman Vincent Peale.
Have you ever asked God for forgiveness? That's a tough question. I don't think in terms of, I'm a religious person. Shockingly, because people are so shocked when they find this out, I'm Protestant, I'm Presbyterian, and I go to church and I love God and I love my church. And Norman Vincent Peale, the great Norman Vincent Peale was my pastor. And Norman Vincent Peale, the great Norman Vincent Peale was my pastor.
Peale is the highest order of the Freemasons and is in the Temple Architects Hall of Honor from ScottishRite.org. Among many heretical things this man has said, one of them is that, quote, it's not necessary to be born again. You have your way to God, I have mine. I have found eternal peace in a Shinto shrine. I've been to Shinto shrines and God is everywhere. Christ is one of the ways. God is everywhere. But perhaps his upbringing doesn't convince you. Maybe you just need to hear it from Donald's own mouth, twice in fact, that he doesn't need God's forgiveness.
Forgiveness. I mean, I try and lead a life where I don't have to ask God for forgiveness. But I'm Protestant, I'm Presbyterian, which a lot of people are surprised to hear. I go to church. The great Norman Vincent Peale was my minister for years. The Power of Positive Thinking was fantastic.
But have you ever asked God for forgiveness?
I'm not sure I have. I just go and try and do a better job from there. I don't think so. I think if I do something wrong, I think I just try and make it right. I don't bring God into that picture. I don't. Now, when I take, when we go in church and when I drink my little wine, which is about the only wine I drink, and have my little cracker, I guess that's a form of asking for forgiveness. And I do that as often as possible because I feel cleansed, okay?
Yes, folks, America is getting back to its roots, and its roots were founded in Freemasonry in 1776. Oh, but perhaps you didn't know George Washington was one of the most well-known and revered Freemasons of his time. And hence, now we start to see how Donald Trump and America are being involved in prophecy. A very symbolically sound interpretation of Revelation has the beast of the sea as some type of European empire, controlled by a harlot that rides that beast, being the papacy or Vatican. And then there's the beast of the earth, which symbolically represents the United States of America. In my upcoming videos, I'll share all the symbolism that supports those two interpretations. The beast of the earth is a powerful beast that subdues the world. So, you thought you were safe. Big bad Hillary Clinton is out of the picture. Donald Trump survived his inauguration. No one's coming after your guns. Trump's going to cool down the heat between US and Russia. He's going to build that wall, keep us safe. And most important of all, that supports those two interpretations is Donald Trump to July 22nd, 2016. The Trump campaign announced a Catholic advisory group for all matters that Christians were concerned about to Christianity in the US. And those close to the Vatican are already suspecting that Donald Trump's support for military and police, not to mention his narcissistic attitude, we're in for a powder keg. So don't sit back in your chair, relax, and get all cozy. 2017 is going to be an interesting year. And watch out for this one very important moment in the near future, where the world will focus on how Pope Francis and Donald Trump have come together. I hope you all enjoyed this video and share it with you.
I had a dream that President Trump was assassinated, but what happened next was even more shocking. It was one of those encounters where you wake up knowing that the Lord just showed you something of international consequence, and we need to pray. What I saw involved political upheaval, spiritual deception, and counterfeit authority rising in the nations, and this, in part, is happening now. We need to pray to stop what's coming next. So in the stream, Donald Trump was assassinated. The scene was beyond tense, and the air itself was charged with conflict. There were military planes flying in the sky overhead, and their engines were thundering. And beneath all that, 2 U.S. government officials in jester clothing. You got to pay attention to that. We've got to unpack that. There was also a world leader from a foreign nation. The 3 were J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio, and Benjamin Netanyahu. So one of the jesters in the dream, one of the jesters stepped forward. It was J.D. Vance. And I watched as he was installed as the next president of the United States. Now, his clothing was really a contradiction. He was wearing this high-necked purple jester suit. It was royal in color but foolish in form, and later I saw him again, and his beard had been shaved off. So we'll unpack all that, but let me just say this. I woke up from that dream with a very heavy awareness, and I've not been able to shake it. This isn't merely about politics, guys. This is about spirits trying to infiltrate high places. So remember Ephesians 6:12. Let me give you some scripture here. For we don't wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers and rulers of the darkness and spiritual.
These Democrats, they call us violent. They just shot our president.
Then when he turned his face, you could see from his ear coming down.
This cameraman was the intended assassin to kill Donald Trump, plain and simple.
You think Thomas Cook was a decoy?
I think Thomas Cook is 100% a decoy.
Thomas Crook. Who was he?
On July 13th, Thomas Crooks attempted to assassinate Donald Trump. In the immediate aftermath, our government officials have given us little to no meaningful information, and because of this, many conspiracy theories have arisen. To investigate the Trump assassination attempt properly, I assembled a dream team of experts. First up, Andrew Bustamante, an ex-CIA agent who spent 7 years in covert operations around the world. Next, Danny Hall, an elite special ops sniper who operated with the Green Berets and Delta Force and was the recipient of the prestigious Silver Star. Then we got Charlie Butt, a man who spent nearly 2 decades in the Secret Service and guarded the likes of President Clinton and both President Bushes. And finally, Senator Ron Johnson, the man who is spearheading the investigation into the Trump assassination attempt. We also talked to former classmates of Thomas Crooks and people who sat 20 feet from Donald Trump at his Butler rally. Throughout this episode, we will investigate the various conspiracies surrounding this assassination attempt in an effort to discover the truth of what happened that day. But first, a quick disclaimer.
Tommy G has just asked me to tell you that he is not suicidal and that he very much enjoys his life because he is mildly nervous that federal agencies might try to assassinate him.
And I approve this message.
My name is Andrew Bustamante. I'm a former CIA intelligence officer. I spent 7 years working undercover with the National Clandestine Service from 2007 to 2014. Before I got out and rejoined the civilian world.
Former?
Yep. Yes, former CIA.
Charlie Butt. I'm a retired Secret Service agent. Previous experience as a special agent for U.S. Customs Service. Spent 28 years as an agent, and I'm here to discuss the events of July the 13th and the attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump.
4 years Ranger, got out, went to college, became a computer programmer, hated it, went back to the military, became a Green Beret, and then deployed to pretty much everywhere there was something to do since 91.
How many missions did you go on while you were away?
My last 9-month mission in Basra was 152.
152 missions?
In 9 months, yeah.
You won the Silver Star.
Mm-hmm.
You took out 17 enemies with your knife.
That's what they say.
That's insane. We're on a quest to discover who was Thomas Crook. What was he like? What do people think of him? What did he do? What did his daily life look like? We're heading first to the nursing home he worked at. This is the place that he worked. And a classmate of his even said, hey, I saw him walking to work some days. It is hard to imagine a guy that was working with seniors is now front page news for trying to kill him, a former president. We have a man we gotta discover. Thomas Crook. Who was he?
This is a guy who history would have never remembered, and now we're going to be talking about him for a long time. So one thing that's interesting to me is that he comes from a medical background. He worked here in nursing and rehabilitation as a dietary aide. So what that tells me is that somehow he had a heart for helping people. And yet this guy ended up on a roof with a weapon trying to assassinate a former president.
We're getting conflicting reports. On one end, you hear people that say he was kind, polite, nice, quiet. Other reports say he was a loner, strange, and he is that guy that they got the school shooter vibes from. We're going to talk to a couple of his classmates and see if we can get a better picture of who the man was.
I really did get like chills hearing about it. Just a kid's name that I had graduated with, and I don't think really anyone saw it coming. He was a respectful kid. The way that he carried himself, he was very quiet, like to himself, but never had any like threatening kind of nature. Very smart, cared about school.
I heard he won a math award.
Yeah, he was very good at, academics. It was what he cared about. He pursued, he wanted to go after high school for like a computer engineering kind of degree.
Was he one of the smartest kids in the grade, would you say?
Yeah, I would say that.
Some of the stuff that's going on in the news is, oh, he was bullied, he was bullied.
He was bullied almost every day. He would sit alone at lunch. I mean, he was just an outcast, and you know how kids are nowadays, and it's honestly kind of sad. He was bullied so much.
He wasn't bullied as much as the media is pushing, the mainstream media. His guidance counselor at this high school even came out with a statement last night saying, Thomas never came to him for any particular bullying.
What could I have done differently? And there is nothing that we could have done in this case because there were no signs.
Incident that had been bothering him or had significantly affected him in any way. So,
did anyone say this kid had the reputation of, if there's going to be a school shooter, it's going to be him?
No, I actually can't say that. There's been a lot of, articles and interviews that have come out recently that have said that he was nicknamed the school shooter years prior, and it's just absolutely not true at all. He had some friends that he would keep close to him and be there for him for what he needs.
It's something I would never expect to happen around me, you feel me? Yeah. You see it happen in Florida, you see it happen here and there, but like here, it's so crazy. He was walking through these doors. And
every single day.
Like, it's so crazy.
One of the main conspiracies that has emerged is questioning whether Crook worked alone or had outside help, because after all, how could a 20-year-old kid outsmart the Secret Service? The top conspiracies on who Thomas may have collaborated with include the FBI, a shadowy U.S. government agent, and the Iranians. Let's investigate these claims.
So you think Thomas Crook's only fired once? Yep. Then they took him out because they had him in the scope for 3 to 4 minutes. They ain't going to let him shoot 8 bullets.
Looking at this guy, what an intelligence agency would do, it would send this guy a friend, an artificial friend, to create a relationship that was based on the intentions of the intelligence agency, not based on the best intentions of the individual. Once they would send in an artificial friend, that friend would start to manipulate some of Thomas's existing behaviors, like his loner behavior, his natural paranoia, his interest in things that were marginally crazy, like bomb making and violence. And they would find a way to validate and encourage his own natural tendencies towards behaviors that were useful to the intelligence organization.
The Heritage Foundation did an investigation, and they found that a cell phone that could be traced to the FBI or near an FBI building visited Tom Crooks at the senior care facility. And this is where the conspiracy lies, that an inside government agent was helping him to carry this out.
I take it you're Mike?
I am Mike.
Okay. One of the things I think is most interesting is your work. The Heritage Foundation came out with something that they traced a phone to Thomas Crooks that may have visited his place of work. Tell me more about that.
We essentially dropped geofences on known locations that Crooks had visited, to include his home, place of work, other things that had been publicly reported and confirmed. located about 9 devices that we, popped in multiple places. The phone that pinged
The
to
Simpsons
the known
predicted
locations
Donald-
of, his home or work, we then traced to a location in Washington, D.C. It pinged there 17 times. These tools are available for investigative purposes, and the FBI and Secret Service have not been forthcoming with any new information about the assassination plot.
So what we're talking about here is known as close associations. Is it a cell phone to cell phone connection? Meaning, did one phone call the other phone? If so, was it a two-way transaction? Was it a one-way transaction? Meaning, was it just an inbound call? Was it an outbound call? Did the calls actually connect? Were there multiple calls? Or is it just what's known as a geolocation association? Meaning the phone was in the same geolocation as another phone. If he worked at a nursing care facility and the FBI officer had, or if it was an FBI officer at all, it could have also been an FBI accountant, could have been an FBI informant, it could have been an FBI bureaucrat. Were they at the same nursing facility just visiting their mom or their dad or their aunt or their uncle? And they just happened to be geospatially or geolocated at the same location. That's the problem with organizations like the Heritage Foundation. When they actually go to do the investigation, they don't look at all the different possibilities that could help explain why there's an association between the two phones.
That they're going to have to start pulling all the data from the towers, and they're going to have to identify all of the phones that were there. They're going to have to look back in time to pull the data from around whatever cell coverage was at his home, because if you look at where his home is compared to where the site is, they're not close to each other, and they would not be the same cell towers.
Another suspicious detail is that he happened to train at a gun range where FBI guys were known to train, and that's where some people speculate that if a connection was made there.
In this rural part of Pennsylvania where he's from, there's not a lot of options for where you might be able to train. When you combine the fact that an FBI cell phone was geolocated close to Thomas Crook at his workplace, and then you also consider the fact that an FBI officer or FBI presence was known to train at the same gun range. Was there some sort of existing relationship between him and some FBI associate? Or was FBI covertly surveilling Crooks and seeking and putting themselves in a location where they were following him to his workplace and or following him to the gun range? Or was Crooks himself following known FBI agents?
Law enforcement sometimes uses private ranges or public ranges that are open to the public. That doesn't mean that they're necessarily in conspiracy with an individual at that range.
Last two were pop-up, double tap. That's the guy from, I think, inside. That's your second shooter that they took out from inside, I believe.
There may be a second shooter additional to Thomas Crook. Do you have any insights on that?
We have eyewitness accounts that there were 8 shells besides Crook's body.
Almost immediately after the news broke, a left-wing conspiracy began circulating that Trump staged this event. Some said this was a way to divert attention from the news that Trump was named in the Epstein files, and others said this was just a publicity stunt to boost his polling numbers. Because after all, they said, the camera person that took this photo was ushered in front of the stage by the Secret Service at the absolute perfect moment. This is what the internet had to say.
Why has Donald Trump's ear healed so quickly after being shot? For the first time since the assassination attempt earlier this month, Trump has been seen without the bandage that covered his ear. Everyone on the internet is puzzled by the absence of stitches or visible scars on the former president. Recent photos from a meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu show Trump's ear looking remarkably unscathed.
I cannot believe what I'm hearing right now. To say that Donald Trump's assassination was staged is just wild.
If you wanted to stage an assassination, you would shoot 35, 40 degrees off target, well away from anybody accidentally getting hit.
The other thing that caused people to think Trump staged this are the questions surrounding his ear. Did he use fake blood? Did he trust a shooter to graze his ear? Did his ear truly get hit by a bullet? And if so, how did it heal so damn fast? What's nonsense and what's fact? Let's ask the experts to give their opinions on this.
It was said that Trump was shot through the ear with a bullet. This here's a picture of Trump's ear from no less than 6 days ago.
So I don't know I would trust that this is a photo from 6 days ago, first. The next thing I would want to know is, what did the bullet wound look like immediately after the gunshot? The wound was very superficial that actually happened to Donald Trump's ear. You can actually see that the body of the ear itself is still attached, so the upper part of the lobe is still there. In fact, it looks like it was just this back area here that was nicked, and that's where all the blood came from. So not only would the wound have healed and the bleeding would have stopped, But then on top of that, you can see that he's under heavy makeup because it's a press appearance. So the makeup would have actually covered up the spot where the specific nick or the specific penetration would have happened.
No one is going to stage something like this to be nicked by a bullet. You could very easily be killed. So I don't believe that this was staged in any way. I do not see that as being a correct theory.
No way that's true. I mean, unless there's somebody else right over there hiding with a badass optic weapon that did it, fired on simultaneous shot on a countdown and all this other shit, which didn't happen.
We also have 3 people that were critically injured and one who passed away, rest in peace, and saying that it was, all like an inside job and stuff like that. I think that a lot of them are not much but conspiracy theories.
Yeah, it was 3 rows off the stage. We heard gunshots, and I just kind of, I ducked down and started praying I wasn't going to get shot, man. There was 2 people shot right behind me. I mean, I don't think that's real. I mean, we saw, pictures, and I had family members that were right beside Corey. It's reality.
Only 2 weeks later, his ear looks like this.
Oh, wow.
What do you make of that?
It seemed like it healed very quickly. Too quickly.
Yeah, I can't really speak to that. You can do an awful lot with makeup.
I can totally tell you the exact 100% details of this entire day from my seat. That young man that was on the roof was just a decoy. Okay? I had to download my complete video when I got home, and I put it on a hard drive. And I can't unsee what I saw. It was a cameraman that took the shot on Trump when he turned his head.
Are you kind of like checking your windows a little bit to see if unmarked cars like fads are by your house?
Right now I'm looking over my shoulder even though I'm pulling out of work.
Holy mother shit, what the hell is going on?
We got connected with a man who claimed to have information that was going to expose what really happened on July 13th. This man, Todd, who attended the Butler rally, said he had cell phone footage that proved the conspiracy of a second shooter. Scared that the government was going to kill him for this information, Todd had us meet him at a local gas station to give us the details. Here's what we learned.
Todd? Todd. Nice to meet you. Hang tight. No pictures yet.
No pictures yet?
Turned around and just started haymaker in that crowd. So many people were hit that you guys don't even know. While his back was turned, this is when the state policeman and that man in black, they grabbed him and boom, 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 boom. Cameraman. After they killed him, you can see his feet dragging like this.
Was this death reported?
I mean, who's even telling you anybody that? They're telling you about this weirdo on the roof whose elevator hasn't left the first floor yet. You take a look at this kid? Oh, we interviewed his parents. Did you? Where was that interview at? Oh, he had explosives in a van? Where the footage of that? You're gonna call me off burner phones? And you release that video, you're a dead mother. Alright. Am I? Buddy, I'm not hard to find, and I'm well known in this town. I'm a good man. I'm not a nice guy, I'm a good man. There's a difference. I will splatter you like pizza. Nothing like your asshole so puckered up. It's like, motherfucker, this is up. I can't believe this. I'm in the house pacing the kitchen all day Sunday after my wife and children left, leaning up against the wall looking out the glass door so I can see the front door. Waiting. Okay.
Do you mind if we start recording?
The day of the Donald Trump rally, I videoed what was going on. I was up close and personal off to Donald Trump's left hip. What initially caught my attention was a couple young men in the crowd that were throwing some harassment towards one of the speakers on the stage. So when he walked out through the throughway of where the Secret Service would be coming through, I'm sure he was given a little bit of a lecture, but during that time, he was also giving some hand signals, continuing the conversation. What caught my eye was a cameraman in a backpack, but it was a pole, an extension pole that come up and over. I kept my attention to this man and watched what he was doing. He looked as if he did not play the part simply because he looked like just the average guy walking out of Walmart. After Donald Trump was speaking, when Donald Trump initially had turned his head, this cameraman had a clear shot to the back of Donald Trump's head to where he fired multiple shots. The first one no doubt missed. The second one clipped his ear. You can tell by the photographs in my video that you can tell it is an exit wound. And you see the third shot where he's getting down.
You saw with your own two eyes this guy take shots at Donald Trump.
Yes, I was still holding my phone going like this and witnessed what had happened. This man then had turned and fired several into the crowd before a man in black and a state cop that was heavier set, probably 6 foot, 250 pounds, had gripped him up, gripped meaning the cameraman, and fired on him 4 times, killing him. And people were there talking about this man on the roof. That man was just a decoy. This cameraman was the intended assassin to kill Donald Trump, plain and simple.
You think Thomas Cook was a decoy?
I think Thomas Cook is 100% a decoy, without a doubt. You cannot deny facts with evidence.
Do you still have a copy of that on your phone? Did you delete it off your phone?
To put it on a hard drive. I kept an edited version on my phone just to hold.
Why didn't you keep the unedited version on your phone too?
Simply because I knew what I had. My life, for sure, is in danger with detrimental information. Every day, I'm glad I wake up. Because I don't know if tomorrow is the last day. I don't know if 10 minutes from now when I walk outside is the last day.
What would it take to go to one of those copies, watch the video with you, and break it down for the American people?
I would need one day of time to go and get this.
If we met you tomorrow, that would be enough time?
Probably tomorrow, probably about 3 o'clock. Where this video that I initially sent into the higher-ups of D.C., they are working on the investigation as we speak.
How did you send it to them?
I sent it to them through via email and text.
Wouldn't it be in your email right now that we could look at it?
That is all taken from this phone. Simply, this phone that you're looking at right here, right now, guaranteed is bugged.
How about this? You stay safe for 24 hours, we'll stay safe for 24 hours, and we'll rendezvous and make this thing happen?
That sounds like a plan.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
My take on the cameraman was he was here Friday night with us at the volunteer setup. I have countless pictures of him here on Saturday. He definitely was a suspicious person, but I'm not sure what his involvement was.
If you're a cameraman, why are you there Saturday morning helping park cars or help people if you're there to video from? Think about it. Yeah, then his stuff's down at the local distillery bar. What is the name of the place? Missing Links. He left stuff down there, all of his camera stuff. They never come back and got it yet. Why is that?
At this very brewery behind me, apparently he left his equipment and he since hasn't been seen again. So we're going to see if there's any truth to this and see what people have to say. Does it sound plausible?
No. Well, he doesn't look familiar. He was not here that I recall.
Brought his camera equipment to this very restaurant, and then after that, he disappeared permanently.
Oh. We have 4 people here. Correct.
Okay, let me ask
But
you.
even before that, there was only a few tables here before that.
After speaking with the waitresses at Missing Links, I wanted to follow up with Todd to get his take. Unfortunately, he went ghost. While I was sitting wondering whether the government got him, or whether the truth was he had no video at all, he finally got back to me, telling me to hang tight that he was at lunch feeding his face. I waited for a call from him, but never got one. And when I texted him with the knowledge I learned from the waitresses, he left me unread. Until Todd sends me the video, I'm gonna go out on a limb and consider this conspiracy debunked. While many assume that incompetence is behind the Secret Service's failure on July 13th, one conspiracy floating around is that they intentionally allowed Thomas to take the shot. The questions that have been raised are, how could a kid like Thomas possibly get anywhere near the former president after being found at the rally with a rangefinder? Why was the Secret Service sniper not given clearance to take out Crooks if he was spotted with a rifle on the roof? And is it possible that President Biden assigned a B-team security detail to Trump in order to let Crook take the shot? And if all of this was simply a bad day for the Secret Service where mistakes were made, are DEI hiring tactics to blame? Let's explore these questions. One of the main conspiracies we're investigating is whether this was intentional by the Secret Service, that the job was so bad that this was an intentional effort to let Thomas Crook take the shot, or was this just massive incompetence?
It was not an intentional doing of the Secret Service. Over the course of my career, there is no one that I have ever come in contact with in the U.S. Secret Service that is not willing to do their job, which means to take a bullet for an individual that we are protecting.
The argument that a 20-year-old kid couldn't outsmart Secret Service is a valid argument. A 20-year-old kid like this cannot outsmart Secret Service. However, if you've ever watched a professional football game and you've seen a professional NFL quarterback fumble a ball, that's more akin to what actually happened that day in Butler, Pennsylvania. Fumbled. They made a mistake. And then they made compounding mistakes on top of that. Whether or not he had an inside assist is a question that is still to be answered. The simplest solution is often the most accurate solution. And the simplest solution here really is that in a rural county, during a political rally, a kid was able to get up on a roof with a gun and take a shot at a former president because the Secret Service left a gap in their security perimeter.
So we're at the building right now that Crook took the shots from. I see the security coming up too. We'll pay them no mind. But this is the building that Thomas Crooks was on, navigating as he took the shot in plain sight for about 90 minutes before he did it.
You have to exit the property. This is your trespass. You have to exit the property.
Hey, who are you?
I'm security. You have to exit the property. You get trespassing charges, please.
Security of this?
Yes. Can you please exit?
Are you a government agent?
Please exit the property, or you get trespassing charges.
Okay, we'll get walking. We'll get walking.
This way, please.
Yeah, you exit this way here. Our car is on that side.
I know that. You have to exit this way, though, please.
You have to exit this way? It's not going to be difficult.
You're trespassing. Now, I can call the cops to get you cited for trespassing.
I hear that.
Can you please?
We're going to walk this way. Where's the
No,
sidewalk?
you're on property. I'm about to call the cops to get trespassing charges. Can you please exit?
We're going to exit this way.
No,
I'm
this
literally
way.
exiting. Because of the easy vantage point, it begs the question, why was this not scoped out? Why was this something that was just left for a kid that was cited for about 90 minutes to be allowed to be on premise, on site? This isn't a city where they have millions of skyscrapers to hide in. This is like the one spot of the area, which makes the whole thing even more interesting. And it goes further into the conspiracy, whether it was incompetence or on purpose. So, and also, isn't it interesting too that just filming this, security is there to apprehend you, but Thomas Crook was able to make it through, where supposedly SWAT team, law enforcement, Secret Service was all congregated. How is it you think that Thomas Crook was able to evade detection? Because, I mean, when you scan the situation, that is a pretty obvious building to lock down. And the fact that the Secret Service didn't, they're supposed to be elite, they're supposed to hold it down. Like, what do you think happened?
I mean, I think there was a lack of security the other day. I don't think there was enough communication between our local sniper teams and the Secret Service. I mean, I was here Friday night, and for the volunteer setup, I was able to drive my vehicle right from park 5 feet from the stage. I was never searched or nothing. I've never saw that before. I mean, I volunteered at plenty of events, and this is the first time I was able to drive right up to the stage.
So you've covered other Trump events before?
Yeah, 22 of them.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so describe the difference between those 22 and this one.
So they're typically locked down 36 hours prior to the rally. This one was still completely unlocked 12 hours prior to the rally. Usually you're searched, vetted, background checks to even get anywhere near that place Friday night. None of that happened.
So what was it like that day? And I guess let's first focus on the security of the event. The day before, the day of, what was it like?
There was no security for the event on Friday. There was nothing. I could have drove right in. I had my truck, we drove right in, right through the door, and pulled right up, and there's nobody around. They had to walk around just to find anyone.
And was this your first Trump rally?
Oh, no. We've been down to Trump's house in Mar-a-Lago many times. We go to a lot of rallies. We go over to the United States and do stuff for him and whatever we need to do.
So, Danny, you did perimeter security for which president?
Clinton.
So as you're looking at an area, what are the primary things that you're thinking about in securing a location?
Set up a perimeter, first of all, like they did. I think they pretty much did that. Then also, anything high, you need to have an unobstructed view from a higher place, like either seated somewhere high or have a drone.
Yeah, so I was at the rally 15 feet behind Trump and the Secret Service. You know, a few things I noticed were the security at the magnetometers, the metal detectors when you walk in, was quick and not very thorough. The 3 bleachers where Corey was fatally wounded and 2 others were critically wounded was supposed to be wristbands, VIP only. That was not the case. It was quite unorganized, and it was very surprising that an event of this magnitude was organized in such a poorly way. Right there on those 4 vents is where Thomas Crooks was stationed when he was shooting at the stage that Trump was on. The counter-assault teams were on that building, and another building that we can't see. But that is the building that Thomas Crooks was on with the 4 vents on it, and this is very similar to where Trump's stage was.
So there was no one on either of these two buildings besides Thomas Crook.
There was local police located inside that
But
building.
not on top.
Not on top.
That seemed like such an obvious thing. It doesn't seem inconceivable that they were not on top of the roof.
Yeah, or at least having a drone doing something, or, I mean, something, but personnel is better.
It's also important to mention that they were right where that 16 is. That's where that one Secret Service counter sniper team was. And you could say that
roof right there.
that roof on building 16.
That's where the fatal shot was taken.
No, that's just where one counter
They were
sniper
the
team was.
closest. The sniper team that was up on this roof here, they readjust. The guy who's up on the tripod, he readjusts. He pulls that tripod back and then re-engages his scope and actually lowers the muzzle. So when CS comes out, survey of an counter sniper. So they're going to do their own survey of an area. And what they do is they're looking at lines of sight, and they're going to look at what's going to be in their area of responsibility. Once they've identified that, they're locked into that area of responsibility. So that team could have been watching something over here. Could have been the tower. Depends on how much, and how much they were going to cover and what their terrain is.
So even if you were called in to identify somebody in this vicinity, there's like 5 buildings here, and they all look the same. Like, that's not an easy task.
With how little ground there's to cover, you don't think it's that easy to
There's
find?
5 buildings back
You've
there.
got to.
They didn't know there was going to be a rooftop shooter. What they had to be ready for was any kind of shooter, and any kind of bomb, and any kind of physical threat, and any kind of rogue driver. So we're looking at all of this through the lens of how did that counter sniper team not shoot?
Because we already know
this
how
guy?
the story unfolded.
Right, but if you put yourself in the Secret Service shoes, the morning of the 5 minutes before
Hindsight
the
is always 20/20. Okay, we get the benefit of knowing everything now in time since it happened.
Jill Biden had an indoor event where there were apparently many more Secret Service agents assigned to her rally than Trump in an outdoor rally. What do you make of that?
Well, she is the First Lady of the United States. She is entitled to U.S. Secret Service protection. In terms of manpower, she is what's considered a satellite detail under the President's detail. They're going to make assessments as to what is needed for each event, the type of event, the location of the event, the number of people in attendance, how are they going to do the screening. When you have 2 events in the same area, there is going to be a dissipation of manpower.
So strategically, Thomas Crook chose a bad location.
Oh yeah.
Why is that?
Well, one, they can see you, most likely. Somebody over there can see you. So as soon as you hit that crest, somebody knows you're up there. So whether or not you shoot him immediately, that's another story I don't understand yet. Number 2, as soon as he shoots that round, he's not coming off that building. That's it. So you'd want to have a technique. One, it'd be further away by a long ways. Also, it depends. If you're a trained sniper, you should be able to take that shot 300 or 400 yards at least. And I wouldn't use an iron-sighted weapon either. I'd use an optic weapon. You need, if you're going to shoot from back there, you need to be a skilled shooter to shoot iron sights. Honestly.
And we have to keep in mind that it was 100, 110 degrees on top of it, so it must have been a pretty uncomfortable position to be in, laying prone. And just so people know your experience, what's the distance that you've taken someone out from?
Like 900
yards.
Like yeah, meters.
For the Americans out there, meters, yards, pretty similar.
Yeah,
right?
pretty close.
But we're not talking feet, we're talking yards.
Yeah.
To test and see how difficult it is to take the shot at 148 yards, at 450 feet approximately, the Thomas Crook shot. We're going to have a total amateur like myself. I have very little rifle training, a little bit of pistol training, but I am not a good shot by any means. And we're going to have an expert marksman, a 20-year-plus sniper for the Special Forces to take the shot, and anyone else that cares to take it. So this is what Thomas Crook was spotted with at the rally.
Something similar.
Who besides a sniper or a hunter would want to carry this?
Golfer.
A golfer?
Yeah.
We can't totally recreate the environment. Know what I know about you? I think if you just pretend that there's some communists out there, I think you'll be pretty accurate, right?
Probably. There we go.
Ooh, smoked them. For the record, I'm not pretending this is a president. I'm pretending this is a communist.
There it is.
There it is. Just from my reaction of doing this, the chances of only grazing somebody's ear would be ridiculous. So for the people that do say, hey, this is staged, that would be the craziest shot to pull off.
Yeah.
And you would never get an inexperienced marksman to do it. Even a guy that is top in his class.
Yeah.
Would Thomas's elevation have made the shot easier?
Oh yeah, and he didn't have much grass to deal with because we can't see the whole target right now either.
So he had a target that was a little bit higher, and he had maybe a 10, 12 foot range.
Yeah, and if you're shooting, he didn't have enough high angle to where he could compensate a high angle calculation. He was only like, a little bit. He's almost just barely down.
It's said that Thomas Crook was in the scope of a sniper for over 8 minutes, and that the sniper requested permission to take him out and was denied. Why would that be?
Depends whose sniper they're talking about. Was he on the ground walking around the building? Was he in the crowd somewhere? Was he actually up on the roof? If he was up on the roof, what did he have with him during that time frame, this is called 8 minutes, that he was up on that roof?
Civilians on the ground even saw this guy with a gun on their roof. Given that there could have been a potential assassin to take out a former president, how was the sniper not cleared to take the shot?
Every agency's snipers have different rules of engagement. So you're going to have to go back and do an after-action review of a timeline of setting up, when these people were calling out that there was someone on the roof with a gun, to the actual timeline of when former President Trump was allowed to come on the stage. And you're also going to have to sync up with that any law enforcement communications, whether it's via the radio or via text messaging. You'll have to sync all of these items up to see when it was first called out that there was someone on the roof with a weapon, as to when it was communicated, how it was communicated, and fix all of these different variables into one timeline to see where the gap is, where the mistakes were made.
Did Biden intentionally assign duds to Trump's security detail?
President Biden doesn't have a say in who exactly is assigned to anyone's detail. People are assigned on merit, people are assigned on experience, people are assigned on where they are in their career.
Do you believe that the policies of DEI are eroding the effectiveness of the Secret Service?
Like I said earlier, I think that the best policy is meritocracy. I think what matters is the person capable of doing the job, regardless of their background, regardless of their ethnicity, regardless of their gender. PT scores matter. Firearms scores matter. The ability of someone to operate in an environment such as the Secret Service environment matters. Doesn't matter who the person is if they can operate in the environment. That's what matters most to keep the protectees safe of the Secret Service.
To some, it may sound ludicrous to ask whether an American intelligence agency had a part to play in the Trump shooting, but when you reflect that many Americans consider the CIA to be among the top suspects in the JFK assassination, it perhaps doesn't seem as far-fetched. After all, over the course of the CIA's history, they've plotted to take out world leaders ranging from Gaddafi to Saddam Hussein. Now, while none of these actually came to fruition, it's worth noting that these documented assassination plots give you an idea of how the CIA is willing to think. And folks, the other thing that slants everyday Americans towards being suspicious of their own government is a seemingly consistent lack of transparency. I mean, Exhibit A is Kim Cheatham.
So more than once they asked for additional help and you turned them down. What did they ask for and how many times did you turn them down? Pretty basic questions.
So again, without having all of the details in front of me, sir, again, I don't know the specifics. I'll have to get back to you on that. I am still verifying timelines.
And folks, for historical reference, long after JFK files were supposed to be declassified and available for public consumption, the US government has chosen to still keep us in the dark. And it's in this environment lacking transparency that conspiracy theories are able to sprout. Let's ask the experts what they think about US intelligence being involved in the Trump attempt.
You mentioned the JFK assassination. A lot of people think the CIA was in on that.
If you recall, when Donald Trump first became president, he promised to release the JFK files. And then upon reviewing the JFK files, he chose to continue to classify a majority of them, many thousands of files, for something called 2x25, which means 2 times 25 years, or 50 total years of classification. That's the default, which means after 50 years, it should be unclassified. When something expires after 50 years and is then reclassified, the only reason something like that is reclassified is because the information inside the file is still relevant to national security. So the bigger question here is, what still exists inside the JFK assassination files collected by CIA that still to this day is deemed to be secret?
What do you think it was that was the difference maker? Was it just someone did the wrong paperwork, someone didn't make the right calls? Why do you think this was so understood?
You want the truth? Because I think the Secret Service was part of the whole 9 yards. Look at Kennedy. They killed Kennedy, didn't they? They just screwed up. The killers screwed up, so they had to take him out. Here you are.
You think Crook was their chosen guy?
I think that Crook was the fall kid. 20-year-old don't know no better to do any of what stuff he did.
Do you think we're ever going to learn the truth?
No. I personally don't think that will ever come out. All the information has ever come out about Kennedy's assassination.
Any theories or conspiracies about the event?
Well, just judging from the aftermath, certainly seems like a 20-year-old had a lot of wherewithal to make this all happen. I find it hard to believe myself. I have many theories. Yeah, it just seemed like if that caught everybody's attention, Trump still took the stage. It seemed like it was meant to happen.
Do you think it's possible that our government helped Thomas Crook to do this?
Absolutely, I do. Yes, I do. I don't believe that a 20-year-old whose phone pings in D.C. near an FBI building coincidental. I also don't think where he practiced shooting with other FBI agents is coincidental.
The Heritage Foundation released findings that Thomas Crook seems to be in contact with someone that is either near or in an FBI building, and that person may have visited him at his job at the senior care facility. What do you know about that?
So I asked the FBI briefer about that, and he just basically rolled his eyes. When the federal law enforcement is looking into these things, they're not briefing the public, they're not being transparent. They can pretty well cherry pick what they want to reveal.
We took a deep dive into the main conspiracies that are out there on the Thomas Crook case. We had gun experts, special forces snipers, a CIA agent, Secret Service, U.S. Senator, and of course people that were there witnessing the event firsthand. Thank you for joining us on this journey. If you're interested in the CIA spy content and want to learn more, Andrew's channel is linked in the description. Fascinating stuff, great podcast guest. Look all of his stuff up. Thanks for joining. We'll see you next week. Peace.
Guys, I gotta let you know behind the scenes, this video was only possible because of my friend Julian Dory. He connected me to Andrew Bustamante and Danny Hall. He's a podcaster, one of the best podcasters on the internet today. I have an episode with him, Andrew has an episode with him, and so does Danny Hall. Check this guy out. His link is in my description. Julian, thank you very much, my friend. And just when we thought that Todd had gone ghost, he hit me back and sent me footage that I found questionable. What I watched was some of the blurriest footage I've ever seen in my life. Like, was this filmed on a flip phone? I'm not saying Todd is wrong, but I am saying, until I see better video, I'm still deeming this theory debunked.
Folks, hope you enjoyed this episode. You want to watch another? Here. You want to subscribe? Over here. See you next week.
Continuing on in our investigation of the Donald Trump shooting in Butler, Pennsylvania, we have some brand new police body cam video to show you in addition to what we had already showed you the last few days. This will clear up the mystery for us of these ladders. It will reveal for us once and for all who put the ladders there and when and how did they get there. This will help solve that very short but important timeline for us, and it will finally put to rest the issue of who put that 10-foot tall aluminum ladder there that everybody was so suspicious about. I have some very surprising revelations for you. Now this is body cam from the officer who parked behind the water tower. And look at this, there's the lady on the horse. I always wondered what happened to her. She took refuge behind that shed. So he's now on the parking lot of the AGR building. And he's going to head over there, and this is the guy that's going to help set up that pallet ladder on top of the shed. Now I did spruce up the video contrast and everything here, and I'm going to fast forward through most of his walking. It's just non-instrumental here at all.
Is
he hit?
Is there a ladder?
Is there a ladder there, Paul?
No, you use that board right there, bro. Yeah, right up. Back up.
Someone on me.
Please stop. Please stop. A lady's been shot in the stairs, the floor stairs.
You need to lift you up? Hold on.
Give me the armor. I need a ladder. Somebody said they see this happen. We need an ambulance to the back. Give me those pallets.
Paul.
Secure this.
Security. I got you. Whenever you're ready. Whenever you're ready. Get them out of here! Get them out!
So right there, you can see them putting the pallet up, and these are going to be the very first officers on the roof.
Next! I need a lighter. She's gonna...
1305, that was your quick relay. Please on anything. Understood, no confirmation. They were relaying the ladder on the right-hand side, or the left-hand side, they're on the way with it.
So it's coming up on 3 minutes after the shooting now, and you heard them just announce that the ladder is on the way. So the officer is basically just standing here now while the first few guys had climbed up the pallet and gone up to the roof.
Laying down! There's a gap in between you and that! As soon as we get up here, you'll have perfect eyes on him. We just need a ladder. I can hold.
And hey, look what showed up finally. The black telescopic ladder that I showed you when they were running across the field with it, and they threw it over the fence. So this is what I find very puzzling though. They take this ladder, this telescopic ladder, and what do? They stick it up on top of the shed there, which is dangerous. It's a dangerous shed. They were already talking about it being dangerous. And this telescopic ladder is now shorter than the pallet because they didn't extend it. So why would you ask for a ladder and not use it like a ladder? So a minute later, we get a nice view of this optimal ladder set up there. Isn't that just beautiful? Why didn't I think of that?
Yeah, let's do. Okay, do we have a suspect in custody? Yes, we do. Oh.
Hey, look who's coming to the party. The very first Secret Service agent has arrived.
Whether he's down or whether he's in custody,
I'm going to try to confirm in a second.
So as I mentioned last night, as soon as the cop dropped off of that roof after seeing the shooter, he should have just fired his gun into the ground to get everybody's attention. Hey, and even at the very least, he would have startled the shooter, and then the shooter would know that there's cops firing at him, and that could have, who knows, it might have interrupted his shooting, and he might not have even gotten started with it. But somehow, you gotta get everybody's attention when something like this happens here. Just like Bruce Willis did in Die Hard. When all other communication fails.
yes.
Okay, once you let's see if I do.
No. Is he a shooter? Did he have a weapon? Is he?
That was the report. That was a report.
And remember, I've edited out a lot of parts here, just the guys walking around. It doesn't contribute anything.
So how are we going on? I don't know.
Are you guys committed?
I have no idea.
Attack resource to the Butler Hospital.
So now the Secret Service agent is sitting there going, how can I get up to that roof? Do you think I could take this telescopic ladder and open it up?
From 03.
I edited out a lot of profanity as well.
Yeah. Just be aware, I'm right eastbound on 68 and northbound on Meridian.
Now keep your eyes on the Secret Service agent. Watch what he is about to do.
Okay, did the motorcade come by you? It did, yes. Okay, you can open it back up.
Let go. Got it? Yep.
Well, we finally solved this mystery. Now we know who set up the black ladder. Well, this is totally unbelievable because I never in a million years would have suspected the Secret Service agent in a suit set up that telescopic ladder. I thought that the SWAT members that were running across the field with it, throwing it over that fence and rushing to get that ladder in place would have set it up. So this story is just getting stranger by the minute. Well, this answers another question that many of us have had, and that is, when did the Secret Service agent get on the roof? But here you go. At just about 10 minutes after the shooting, at 1821, remember, The shooting happened at 18:11:33. So there is our first view of the telescopic ladder all set up. And as he turns around, watch, you can see the broken plastic chair over there to the left of it and the broken leg of the chair. I don't know if the cops had stood on it and broke it.
One Secret Service just went up. Yeah.
Have a copy.
Now they're going to be mentioning Dave Stewart in the red shirt any second now. He's the one that shot that famous shaky video that you've seen me mention a few times.
1227, I can see you keyed up. You're the west side of the building. Thank you.
I f***ing told them they need to post the guys over here. I told them that the Secret Service. I told them that Tuesday. I told them to post f***ing guys over here.
I have no contact with the inside.
What? No. We're inside.
I wasn't even concerned about it because I thought someone was on the roof. I thought that's how they kind of how can you lose a guy walking back there?
They were inside.
Why were we not in the building?
Because
you need to go somewhere over on the west side.
Why weren't we?
Because I thought we were going to post guys over here. I talked to the Secret Service guys. They're like, yeah, no problem. We're going to post guys over here.
Watch the large window beside me.
Copy. We need ladders. Yeah, panic.
So when are the only going to summer on the roof? I see him coming.
Did he drop on it?
Up on this side?
Yeah, correct.
Cut across, and he climbed down the other side. That's when I was calling it out. He came down. That's when the trooper pulled up. And he went down, and then the trooper, and all of a sudden they came up. You were here. Did you see the long gun?
No, I was running up when the shots got fired.
And
so he shot. Who shot him?
Just for standby.
I don't know. I came around.
I don't know what this crowd's gonna do.
Can't find Renault. I can't find Sentinel.
Okay.
I need head count.
So now the medic, Michelle, arrives there, and we've showed you sort of this scene from one of their helmet cams previously.
Great place to get here. Set up the perimeter. Let me know when you're ready to play.
Is that where the dude is too?
Yeah, he's going too. So the ladders are en route. The operator suffered lacerations with him, so like we might need minor stitching. Can't confirm life status on the mail. Let's get off.
44. Where do you want me?
So how we got up next corridor over.
I'm just getting
You'll see what the the suspect is directly above us.
So the ladder's going to be coming over here? Yeah. So that corridor down there? Yeah. I'll take it. Yep. So, well, don't wait.
Now, if I just pause it here for a second, that's the alcove where all the cops were hoisting each other up there earlier, and they're stopped right in front of it, so you can see there's no ladder there, but they do spot the black telescopic ladder in the next building down.
Yeah, you oh yeah, you see. Yes, you can. Go down to that corridor. We're gonna hold off this one. Is this where they climbed, or is this where the bad guy climbed? That's where. That's where we climbed and went up. Okay.
Hold on.
1305. You have 48 in the area. He's the only one. 1434 is on the tactical team.
Thanks, brother. Yep.
I believe we're going to
And finally, we have more people correctly using the ladder. OSHA would be proud.
I still have a large crowd presence in the field. Still a large crowd presence in the field. Majority of the states. We haven't had time to get together yet. Alright, yeah, they're on the air.
Hey, look who else is coming to the party. Check this one out, folks. Let me show you something over here. Look at this. It looks like the cops have finally shown up with that ladder. And if you look at the timestamp, so this now solves a lot of questions for us about that big old 10-foot aluminum ladder. Who put it there? How did it get there? And what time did that ladder get there? So this now solves every question we ever had about this ladder. And I think we can rule out that it's had absolutely nothing to do with the shooter. So the 10-foot aluminum ladder arrived at 6:29 p.m. 18 minutes after the shooting.
Service, post guy over here. I told him that meeting on Tuesday.
What's that?
So I think this dude in red, whether he witnessed it, whether he whatever.
He was with him.
Was he with him? Okay.
Oh no, they're suspecting Dave Stewart.
That I'm aware of.
Did we get, there was the second key card for this building should have been from, well, you might have some in your car. Should be some in the car. But the second key code for this building was at the command post.
Is any guys in, Colonel?
Just, not yet. Mate. Stand by with Slack. Stand by with Slack.
You want me to see if I can get you a command post from Butler, or from Beaver County?
Hey, I got another one. I got more.
Here, looks like 2 or 3 over here. Okay. Charlie 1.
Hey, Slack, radio up. Tell them we got 3, 4. Ask them if they want to start clearing building 3.
That was part of the initial. If you need a grid location on the.
No, I just dropped out.
Copy. I am outside of 4.
See that dude running?
And then an hour and a half later, the AGR parking lot was crowded with cops.
I thought you were on the roof. I thought it was you. I thought you guys were on the roof.
No, we're at 9. Bravo 1. 50.
Why were we not on the roof? I think he's dead up there. I said, I don't know.
Bravo 1 is coming.
Whenever they saw him and they needed him, they should have called us earlier.
All units, be advised. The actor had a remote device with a 9-volt battery on his person. And do not enter AGR building per TAC command if they have units clearing.
I'd say this is a up.
Sorry, not sure which gas company.
Somebody
got them. I have them respond.
The stage is right there.
Sorry.
They were on the second floor inside. You remember whenever Trump was coming in, they shut down cell service.
Oh, I remember they did. Whoever probably did the circle in the front because you more visible in the crowd, it had to be. But you had to be back far enough to see. So I don't know what. When I see someone run across the roof, they probably shouldn't yank Trump right off the stage.
This is the squad car of the officer that crawled up on the roof and spotted the shooter and then fell back down. So he was patrolling a few blocks away and drove over toward the water tower. Note that the time is 6 p.m. You can see he's driving up the back side of the water tower. There's still no audio yet, and still no shooter up there either, like a lot of people thought there was. He's pulling up to another police car that's already parked behind the water tower. So you can see they had plenty of police all the way around there at the bottom. So now he is driving across the parking lot of the AGR building. And he's going to park right in front of the building where the shooter is sitting right now. Look at the time, it's 18:08. Sometime around now they've discovered that there's a person up on the roof. They still don't know he's armed yet. as he heads into this south side here facing the Trump rally. Remember, Trump is already speaking right now, and we're about 2 minutes away from the shooting. And look how the building is set down low in that little valley, whereas the grass and the rally grounds and everything else are higher up. See the hill on the other side of the building? That's how the people up by the other trees were able to see him. I think that's Dave Stewart in the red shirt there on the right side of the picture, shooting his now famous video. So now the officer is going to start to head around to the east side of the building there toward the water tower. He is going to then get hoisted up to the roof where he will discover the shooter within 60 seconds from now. And there's Dave still shooting over there on the right. And here's Dave's version of that video, and there's the officer right there walking along the end of the building. He's going to turn around and come back this way. There's the state trooper that's going to climb up on the picnic table there momentarily. So they, of course, can't see anything from that vantage point. But what you're going to see now is this officer is going to start heading back over to the corner of the building, and he's going to disappear around that other right-hand corner of the building over there, because he is the one that in less than a minute from now is going to spot the Trump shooter. So he's starting to walk over there now, and you'll see him and another officer start to kind of pick up the pace and run back into the alcove area behind the two tall bushes. So off he goes around the corner. And now we're back to his body cam, and he's getting ready to walk around that corner there. As soon as he gets to the side of the building here, he's going to start hightailing it. So they're going to go into that little alcove, and this is that now famous video that we saw the other day. So he's going to get hoisted up there by his partner. And he's going to try to pull himself up, then he sees the shooter and drops back down to the ground. And the rest is history. Make sure you check out these other two videos that I've uploaded over the last couple of days here. These are the fresh new videos for you to check out. If you haven't been here on this channel, you want to binge watch those. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one.